We're gonna make up a story. It's so easy to do.
We love to do it, and so will you.
To make this creation, use your imagination.
And remember, every story has a beginning, a middle, and an end.
And then you tell it to a friend.
That's it. Then you add a few details and you have your story.
I have a very easy way to remember beginning, middle, end. Think of your head as the beginning, this is your middle, and way down there, your toes are the very end of you. Beginning, middle, end.
Come on, everybody, do this with us.
First you start at the beginning, roll your head around. Next comes the middle, tap your belly, make a sound. Then the end, start down low, touch your toe, then come up high, just like so. Beginning, middle, end. Beginning, middle, end.
And then you tell it to a friend.
But Paige, where do you get your ideas for a story?
Oh, lots of places. Sometimes I get ideas from interesting things around me, like my favorite stuffed animal.
Maybe it comes to life. Or talks.
You can make up a story about someone you'd like to meet.
A dinosaur.
Or someone you'd like to be.
A pirate.
Beginning, middle, end. Beginning, middle, end. Then you tell it to a friend.
My favorite way to get stories is by taking something that actually happened to me and then changing it. And pretty soon you have a great story.
Well, wouldn't that be lying?
No, the difference between lying and telling a story is that you always let your friend know that you're telling a story. That way everyone knows it's just make-believe.
Hey, Splash, what did you do this morning?
Well, I was walking to the store and I was eating an apple. I looked down and I saw a puddle. There was a worm in the puddle who wasn't happy to be there, so I helped him out of the puddle.
Beginning, middle, end. Beginning, middle, end.
You touched a worm.
And then what?
That's it. I just kept walking. Great story.
It is. Well, it will be. We'll just change it. What do we start with?
The beginning!
One day you were walking to the store, and in your hand you held an apple core. You thought you heard somebody start to talk. It was coming from a puddle on the sidewalk. When you looked down, to your surprise, you saw a purple worm, and he had 3 eyes. He was covered with stripes and polka dots on his face. You see, this worm was from outer space.
Beginning, middle, end. Beginning, middle, end. And then you tell it to a friend.
Okay, what comes next?
The middle!
The space worm was stuck in that puddle, you see. He looked at you and said, please help me. I've got to find a spaceship and get home to my planet. But I'm stuck in this puddle and I really can't stand it. So you bent down low and you helped the worm out. When he saw your apple core, he started to shout.
Beginning, middle, end. Beginning, middle, end. And then you tell it to a friend.
Okay, what's next?
The end! The worm said he'd like your apple core as a ship. He used a seed as a helmet, and I think he looked hip. He sat on top and he steered with the stem. Oh, how I wished I could go with him. He said, you've been so kind, there's just one thing more. Would you reach way back and throw the apple core? As hard as I could, I threw it into the sky. It didn't come back down, Space Worm started to fly. When Space Worm had landed on his very own star, you heard a small voice coming from afar. It was Space Worm saying, thank you, my friend.
And do you know what? I think that is the end.
Beginning, middle, end. Beginning, middle, end. Beginning, middle, end. Beginning, middle, end. And then you tell it to a friend.